All right, so we'll get started with the last game first, and then we'll move to Dallas. You know, a couple of things. You know, we didn't get any turnovers, and they got three. We had three opportunities. I mean, real opportunities on defense and one on special teams, so that makes four. We dropped two, and then the ball went up, and we didn't get it. So what do we have to do as coaches? I mean, we got to put them in and expose them. We're doing different drills this week, exposing them to different ball drills to make sure that we come down with those balls. Sudden change, you know, we talked about it the last two wins that we had. When we got in sudden change, the offense turned the ball over. We didn't allow points, okay? In this game, we allowed 13 points. All right, so that's not good enough. We went into this game, number one, versus the screen, and they hit some screens on us for a number of yards, which was, new to us this year. And then the running back run game, they ran the ball for the first time, with the running back. They got significant yards. In our missed tackles, I think we're at 12%. That puts us at 17th in the league. If you're at 11%, that puts you in top 10. So 1% better in our missed tackles will get us where we want to be if you look at it from a ratio. If you just look at the raw number, which is, I don't think, a fair way of looking at it because of you take the tackles versus the missed tackles, and that's how you get the ratio from that standpoint. There were some positives from the game. I thought Payne played well, J.K. played well, Trey, and Frankie. But at the end of the day, we're here to win, and so we're not necessarily looking for positives. We're here to win. So moving forward to Dallas, had a lot of history with those guys being there for 3 years. Dak is playing the best ball that he's playing. Man, he is playing at a high level, getting the ball out of his hands. He has really good eligibles outside. CD will be back. Turp will be back. So the running back is running hard. The offensive line is blocking really good. Tyler Smith, one of the best guards. The young rookie Booker, he's playing well. Steele's playing well. They're blocking in as a unit. The tight ends, Ferguson, he's highly targeted. Dak has a comfort level with him. They're putting up a lot of points. They're good run and pass. They're very good offense. And so we have our work cut out for us. We just have to, nail it back down. And like I said, we're trying to get off this roller coaster. And like last week, I talked about not being on it, and we're staying on it. So hopefully we can get off and start playing consistent play. Any questions?
Like you said, the screen game you had done well, but why did they have some of the success? Was it recognition, awareness? What was it there?
There was a couple of things, one screen that they hit on us that I guess got the biggest yards, that we went the wrong way with one guy, and that allowed the blockers to get up. And then there was two that I think got around 11 or 12 yards, and sometimes that's going to happen in the screen. They had good plays on that, but there was one that really got 2 million yards that normally didn't happen. Then we hit one in the backfield on a tight end screen. We've done really nice against the screen, but this game, with our pressure, it got behind us a little bit.
And then, like you said, with Dak playing well, what is the difference you've seen in him? And then how much more dangerous that offense with CD and then Pickens on the outside?
Dak has always played well. I just see him really getting the ball out of his hand really quick. He plays with great anticipation. His back foot hitting the ground and the ball's coming out. He can elude people in the pocket. He can make every throw. He's faster and stronger than people really give him credit for. And then when you have CD and Pickens on the outside, and not only them, you have the running back that doesn't allow you to play a lot of cover two against them because the running back can run through tackles. So the combination of all three makes it very, very difficult to put hats over the top of those guys outside. And then once they get the ball, CD is like a running back once he gets the ball in his hand.
Going back to the missed tackles, is that difficult to work on in season just because you're not doing a ton of live hitting in practices? You want to maintain the guy's health in season. Like, is that a difficult thing to improve in season?
I don't think for the simple fact that this is the NFL and this is how you have to practice in it. But there's nobody doing it any differently, okay? You have to make sure that you're getting your body, you're bending at the end of tackles in practice. We're not putting our, like yesterday was a walkthrough. So bend at the end, get your body in position, throw hands, and get multiple people there. Vice tackle, don't leave a guy on a singular tackle when multiple people can be there. So you have to make sure the details of that, because we know we're not going to the ground, but nobody's going to the ground at this time of the year. So like I said, right now we're at 12% in missed tackles. If we get to 1% better, that's going to put us top 10. If we get to 10%, that puts you top 5. So the margins are small in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So we're at 17th right now. That's not where we want to be. We want to be top 10, moving into the top 5 in that area. So we will continue to work at it and get it done.
And then looking at the Cowboys, what has George Pickens brought to this offense, and what challenge does he pose?
He's one of the best deep ball catchers, body control to the catch in the league. I mean, he can run the slant and run away from you, but at the same time, his ability to track the ball and get body control to it is unique and rare. It's a lot like AJ Green was in his early years. I thought he was a really good deep ball catcher. This guy is along that line of what AJ used to do, where AJ was catching over his eyes. He has the ability to contort his body to go get it.
Similar to Nikki's question about tackling with turnovers, is it a year-to-year thing where you're working with the guys on different techniques, different games? Obviously, it's a little bit of ball luck in terms of picking them up, but in terms of kind of creating those turnovers. It's something that you guys have preached since you've been here. How do you kind of amp that up as the season goes on?
You know, we got to do a better job as coaches and exposing them in the drills. We had 2 in our hands that we dropped. Okay, so why are we dropping them? All right, are we giving them those type of tips and overthrows type balls in practice enough? Are we giving the linebackers the drive throws when they have to fall back when they're in different spacings? We have to make sure as coaches that we expose to guys, because I'm a firm believer of when we expose them, when they understand it, they go make the plays. You know what I'm saying? So we'll do a better job of that.
You talked a little bit about the running game last week to this week. What did you see, because you all were basically stopping the run.
Yeah.
What did you see some key things that you were doing last week that you have to clean up this week with stopping the run a little more?
Yeah, still in between the tackles, the 2 big guys did a nice job with Kinlaw and Payne. We miss Eddie. It would have been nice to have him. But the ball – on the C and D gaps, we're getting outside, and so we have to do a better job of setting edges and making sure that we're flowing. People still aren't running in between the tackles. They didn't necessarily run in between the tackles. It was more perimeter runs. So we have to ensure the C and D gaps and the crack toss and those plays that got outside of us. We have to do a better job of setting edges and those things.
And you talked about Dak, the year that he's having. Mm-hmm. What are some keys that you know that you all have to do to kind of like slow him up if possible?
He's having a great year. Everybody sees it. I think, we've pressured the quarterback really well. We have to hit him, all right? But he's the type of quarterback. I always judge a quarterback once you hit him, do they look at the rush? He doesn't look at the rush. He keeps his eyes downfield. He's a real quarterback. Most quarterbacks or younger quarterbacks, or when you hit them, they start looking at the rush. He doesn't do that. You can hit him. He's a very tough man, so I understand that. But we have to hit him, and we have to make sure that he's uncomfortable in the pocket, because if he's sitting back there hitting his back foot, getting the ball out to his eligibles, he's really, really good. So we have to find a way to get to him and hit him.
Hey, Coach, you've mentioned when I've asked previously about October football, what you wanted to see. You talked about the consistency. Yeah. So what are some of the things that you have seen consistently with your defense?
Well, our third down has been good, okay? We've our situation is, third down, fourth down, we're getting off the fields in those situations. The ability to the completion percentage is down. The runs up until this last week was good. If we can take the explosive play, so like the play on the sideline where we had the missed tackle that went, that's the tackle that we have to make. You know what I'm saying? And we have to do a better job of drilling that, as coaches, and then coming through with that, because we get that ball down. All right, it's a first down in that situation, and now they have to go a longer ways. But just work at it. Like I just told the guys today. Like DQ said in his opening press conference when he first got here. Doing hard shit with good people. It's hard. Nobody said this was going to be easy, but we'll get it done. You know, that if we're going to walk around here and with a negative cloud on us, which we're not, which I'm not, you know, because that's not productive. All right, we're going to work at it. We're going to try to find ways. We're going to be creative, and but at the end of the day, we got to win. You know, all this lip service and talking that I'm doing, if we don't win, it don't really matter. All right, so we got to win. The fun in football is winning, and I understand the fans. You know, they're passionate, and that's how they should be. All right, they should be passionate about these Commanders, and we got to do a better job. Period.
And what have you seen from Trey Amos so far this season?
Trey's played really well. I mean, especially when it's outside the numbers, the kid has, I mean, every week he's played well. I mean, he's been a consistent player, and I've been pleased with him.
Joe, through 6 weeks, 6 games, what's the strength of your defense, do you see?
Pressuring the quarterback right now, the D-line, I would say, would definitely the strength, yes.
And there's always a balance between you want to react to what the offense is showing versus doing what you do well. Like in this last game, what was the challenge there? They went with 11 personnel, way more than they had been, and you guys have been using a little more with 12. What with McGee? What's that balance like? Oh, well, they're doing this now. We have to change, or what do we, stay with our strengths?
Ask the question again, because I'm not quite understanding.
Basically, how do you determine when do you stay with your strengths versus reacting to what they're doing and dictating sort of the terms as opposed to the other way around?
Yeah. So they had been more 12 personnel, all right? And so, but when they went 11, that's not a weakness of ours. We can pressure the quarterback and play really well out of 11 personnel, especially 2x2. We've been playing, looking at some of the analytics, been playing really well in 2x2 situations in 11 personnel. I was anticipating more 12 and more McGee being able to get out there, but they didn't put 12 out there. So, the offense dictates what personnel they put out there, and then we try to match it as much as possible. And hopefully you understand the fact that if we put our 4-3 look out there versus 12, now it limits some of our pressures, because now you have linebackers match on receivers, all right, and that's not what you want. And so, or you get real predictable, because now you have to blitz the linebacker that's over the receiver, which they know probably is coming, because they're knowing that you're not going to have McGee covering the slot receiver. So that's why we go with our nickel package versus 11 a lot of the times.
Joe, when it comes to a team, or when there's a team that has a speed advantage, what are some ways you can work around that as a defense?
A team that has a speed advantage? I don't feel like we really face a team that necessarily had a speed advantage. We have, fast guys on the outside. We're fast up front. So, but if you do have a team that necessarily has, a top off guy, you can play cover 2 to it. You can roll to him. You can stay over the top of them. There's ways that you can encapsulate those guys, but I don't think that wasn't the case this last game.
I guess you mentioned some of those runs to the perimeter being an issue, or maybe passes to the perimeter. I guess what do you think the problem was on those types of plays?
We got to set the edge. That wasn't a speed deal. It's the ability to set the edge and make sure that ball turns back. It wasn't that it was getting out there before because of speed. It was the edge setting on it. Yeah.
You talked about the explosive plays earlier, and I know that each one is kind of its own individual thing, but thematically, when you look at them all together, is it more scheme or execution, and what is it like for you as the D coordinator watching the film of those plays?
It's the execution and the communication. If we have great pre-snap communication, it provides better post-snap play. And so a lot of the plays are plays that we've gone over. We just have to make sure we're executing them on game day. That's just what it is. And some of them, like I said, the big play that hit us in this last game, it was a play that should have gone for 8. It went for 55 because of a missed tackle. That falls into that same bucket of explosives.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Doing good. Third downs, you guys are top half in the league in third down defense. The Cowboys are top half in the league in third down offense. Mm-hmm. What are some of the keys, obviously, without getting in the scheme, to making sure your strength outdoes their strength?
When we get an opportunity to rush them to win, making sure that when he hits his back foot that there's not people open, that he can get the ball out of his hand to change the picture, as much as possible. That's what typically we try to do on third down. Dak, he understands coverages. He understands the role of coverages. So if you keep it, if his pre-snap look is what you do post-snap, he's going to carve you up. So we have to make sure that that we do a good job of being on the bodies of these guys.
Joe, with the missed tackling, tackling is such a fundamental principle of football. You learn it, you start it in Pop Warner. When the missed tackles start piling up and you're up there in the box, you're thinking what? Like, what are your emotions when you just see? It's almost like a helpless feeling because,
It's not a helpless feeling. Don't speak for me. We have to do a better job of it. Okay, we have to take one more step to the tackle. We have to make sure we're wrapping. We make sure we're coming up with a body part as we're going. The running and hitting, has been there. Was there the week before. We did not have the turnbacks, the number of turn. We only had 12 this week. You know what I'm saying? So that number was not where it needed to be. But we're going to continue to drill it, and like I said, 1% better gets us in the top 10. All right, so hopefully I can come here and say 3 weeks from now that, all right, now when you look at the ratio, we're in the top 10, and then we can move further. We have a lot of games left, okay? And I understand that we let an important game get away from us, all right, and it shouldn't have. All right, we should have won this game, especially on defense at the end right there, but we didn't. And so we have to make sure that we get off this roller coaster and we just play consistent ball. All right, y'all have a great one, okay?